Academy live platform. My name is Arifa Zahir, and in today's class, we will be talking about food. Yes, the IELTS speaking topic for today is food. Now, let's have a look and see who are there in the class. All right, and now we are set to start. So, let's see if we've got anyone in the class. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ratna. Hi, Vishnu. So nice to see you in the class. And let's begin the class today. So my referral code is BE Trainers. So if you subscribe with this code on the Unacademy Live platform, you will be getting a 10% off. And my Telegram handle and Instagram handle are both with the name IELTS with Arifa. So if you would like to subscribe to the Unacademy Live platform, please use my code BE Trainers. And if you'd like to follow me, I'm there on both Instagram and on Telegram with the same name, IELTS with Arifa. Now let's begin the class and tell you why you should subscribe to the Unacademy Live platform. Another thing, like we always say at Unacademy, let's crack it. So let's begin this journey of cracking it. Before I begin, quickly let me tell you about the different types of subscriptions that Unacademy provides. Unacademy provides 5 different types of subscriptions for IELTS, starting with the 1-month subscription, the 3 months, the 6 months, the 12 months, and the 24 months subscription. You can very clearly see that the 1 month is 2,700, the 3 months 6,750, the 6 months 10,800, the 12 months 13,500, and the 24 months 21,600. Very important to note that beyond these discounts which are available on the Unacademy platform, you can get a further 10% off by using my referral code on the Unacademy Live platform on the total amount, which would be 10%, and the code is BE Trainers. All right. Now, let's further move on and let me tell you more about myself. My name is Arifa Zahir and I'm the founder of British English Trainers. It's a company that I've started on my own and it is situated in the eastern part of the country. I'm a Plus educator on the Unacademy platform. My educational background includes Master in English Literature and CELTA from Cambridge University. My overall experience includes more than 10 years, more than a decade I have been with the IELTS. I started my IELTS journey as an administrator with the British Council, and then I moved to IELTS training and teaching. So teaching students and training tutors who further gone on to train others. My students are placed in all parts of the world, including Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, Germany, and Canada. We provide training of IELTS, TOEFL, PT, General, and Communicative English at BET, and also provide assistance in writing the statement of purpose. Now, before I begin with the whole speaking module, I would like to tell you that Unacademy is assisting its students with the golden opportunity of attending more than 20,000 live plus classes, 20,000 live classes on the Unacademy platform. So whether you are a subscriber or not, you can attend these classes and avail the most benefits out of it. And my referral code like I said, is BE Trainers. All right, now let's begin. Before we begin, it's very important to note that there are four criteria based on which you are marked in the IELTS examination for speaking. Instead of cohesion, this would be fluency. So right there. So grammar, lexical resource, fluency and coherence, and pronunciation. For under pronunciation, you should be focusing on fluency with prawn. Now, I'll tell you why fluency with prawn is so important. Because if you hesitate while you're speaking and what you're saying is not clear enough, it is going to affect your fluency. So that's the reason why we say, excuse me, that fluency pronunciation are correlated. And if your pronunciation is not clear, you'll also lose marks for fluency. All right. And lexical resources, definitely vocabulary, so that there is no repetition of what you're saying and you're clear, and you are providing enough synonyms which are correlated to the topic, and you do not move too much out of the topic and don't use too many random words. And grammatical range and accuracy, generally grammar is in IELTS speaking quite important, but fluency is even more important. So you should be continuously speaking on any given topic for the duration of 2 minutes and focus on speaking at length on that topic rather than just focusing on getting grammar right and not being able to say more than 8 or 10 sentences. I hope that's absolutely clear. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Your overall band score is determined by what you get in these 4 skills, and that's what your overall is going to be all about. Now, the assessment criteria is on very clearly vocabulary, accuracy, and grammar, and fluency and pronunciation, but it's also important to understand what comes under vocab. So the very important thing to notice out here is emphasis on a range of words you're using and paraphrasing. That's how you can score more under vocab. Try not to use stereotypical vocabulary. Focus on collocation, and of course have a good sentence structure so that you can get enough marks for grammatical range and accuracy, and stick to having simple structures connected by very good linkers. Now, under fluency and cohesion, one very important criteria which I forgot to mention was it's very important we use signposting language, or we call it the linkers, correctly, so that you can score the maximum in all your 4 assessment criteria, but mostly in fluency and coherence, you are able to show the correlation between the different stages. Now, synonyms out here very clearly mean you provide words which are correlated to the main keywords you're using, so that you do not repeatedly use the same words. Again, another thing to notice out here is if you repeatedly use the same words, there is a big chance that you will lose marks not only for coherence, which is usage of signposting language in IELTS speaking, but also you lose marks for vocabulary because you'll end up repeating the same words again and again. You can have a look at some of the synonyms out here. Busy, occupied, transport, modes of conveyance, beautiful, stunning. These are things that I show in all my classes because it's important to understand the correlation and then use it effectively. Now, what is a collocation? Not everything is by going about by grammar rules. There's also a colloquial way of saying things. Let us see a few examples. So again, a slide which I show before every speaking class. Junk, for example, fast food, which is generally what an oily food is called, which is available outside, not at home, could also be called a junk food. Agree to could be called agree with, and see could be called take a look. Now these things do one thing very effectively. They tend to make this language better to understand for the examiner, and also it looks like you are aware of what you're saying, and using the colloquial way makes your language closer to how the natives would speak, the native speaker would speak. And try not to use stereotypical vocabulary. Like, don't keep saying like. Use for example, for instance. Don't keep saying very good. Use excellent, superb. Okay. Instead of saying okay, okay, say mediocre, moderate. Don't keep saying yup. This is the most dangerous one. Refrain from saying yup, yeah, all the time. Remember, this is a Cambridge examination. Do not forget that. So, it is conducted by certified Cambridge examiners. So, be aware of that and use language which is as close to how natives would speak. So keep it good and keep it formal. Yes, certainly, surely, happy, thrilled, fortunate. All right, there has to a very quick input on grammar. One of the major grammatical ranges which should be focused on in IELTS speaking is the correlation between the subject and the verb. If the subject is singular, then it will take a singular verb with it. My dog always growls at the carrier. If the subject is plural, then it will take a plural verb with it. These clothes are too small for me. So it's very important to be absolutely clear with your subject verb correlation. For further clarity on that, please watch my subject verb videos on the special class on the Unacademy platform, subject verb agreement classes. So I have done classes on the Unacademy live platform which have covered these areas. All right, so the major things to be noticed and to be followed here are tenses, word stress, fluency using gap fillers, pronunciation, be clear in what you're saying, and using linking devices. And I give linking devices a lot of importance in IELTS. So before I move ahead out here, let me see if my students have mentioned anything out here. Let me have a look and help you with any queries if you've got. Good evening, Shamali. So we've got Vishnu, we've got Riz. Hi Neha, hi Shamali, hi Ratul, hi Bachu. So that's it. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to put it down on the comment box. All right. Now, linkers. Linkers, like I say all the time, are very, very important. Linkers are words or phrases that we use to link, that is, connect or join ideas. It is very important to use linkers in speaking and writing when it comes to IELTS. In fact, I cannot tell you the importance. I cannot but, sing praises about the importance of signposting language or linkers. I've done complete classes on that on the Unacademy live platform, on the Unacademy website. Please go and attend these special classes. You can also watch these classes which are pre-recorded. And that is the reason why we say it's a good decision, it's a good thing to take a subscription with Unacademy, because the kind of exposure, the kind of access you will have to all the material on the Unacademy platform. So there must be a relation between the ideas when you're talking about something. And this correlation is brought about by linkers. I've put just a few examples out here for you to see, to show cause and effect accordingly, consequently, to add an example in this situation, in this manner, to further express about something which I had mentioned earlier, so on. So use languages like these, signposting language like this. A signposting language can be a word, a phrase, or even a sentence. Anything that brings about a correlation that connects ideas is a signposting language. Now, without further ado, let's move on to the most important part of today's class, and that is the speaking topic. And our topic for today is food. Now, before we begin, it's very important to understand that the first stage of the speaking involves, even before the class has started, you meeting, excuse me, even before the first stage of the speaking begins, it's very, very important to understand that the examiner is going to try and acclimatize you to the environment of the examination, and she will offer you water. She may ask you to, sometimes she may ask you to relax down, or you could say, ma'am, can I have a moment, please? Can I take a breather? And then you can ask for a glass of water and then continue. Here she hasn't started asking you for asking you the questions, and you shouldn't be worried about anything at this stage. Next, the most important thing out here is after the greeting and the ID check, where the examiner has seen your passport, she now moves on to part 1 of the IELTS speaking test, where you will be asked a few questions on any particular topic. And these questions you should be answering in 1 or 2 sentences. My humble request to you would be not to speak in monosyllables. Try to stay calm and give a little bit of detail, but do not go overboard here, because remember, between part 1 and part 3 of the IELTS speaking test, one major difference is part 1, you need to speak very little, but not in monosyllables, 1 or 2 sentences, 3 sentences max. But in part 3 of the IELTS speaking, you have to answer in detail with a lot of functional language, signposting language. So be aware of that and accordingly adopt these strategies in your IELTS examination. Now, part 2 of the IELTS speaking, excuse me. Part 2 of the IELTS speaking will cover questions and answers on any given topic. Generally, you'll notice that part 2 and part 3 are correlated. Part 1 may be slightly correlated and sometimes not correlated at all. But part 2 and part 3 of the IELTS speaking will always be correlated. So if there's a particular question in part 2 about childhood, part 3 could have questions on children, on nostalgia, on growing up as a child in the place that you were a part of or you resided at. So you would very clearly get an idea about what type of questions you would be getting in part 3. Remember one thing, part 3 has to be detailed, and you should be using a lot of language, signposting language here, especially language for opinion and generalization. So usually, normally, generally. So languages like this. All right. Now, um, some of the questions that the examiner may ask you during the greet and meet are, she may ask you questions like, just a second. Let me just have a look and see where the pen is. There was a typo here. Yeah. So about your passport, just remember one thing. Just show the passport, relax, don't answer the examiner back. Always, if you want to ask something, just say, ma'am, can I ask you a question? Pardon, and speak in a very clear manner. All right? Now, let's start with the part 1 of the IELTS speaking test. Before we begin, let's have a look and see if we've got any questions here. Any questions, guys? If you've got any questions, you can just ask me. Because I shall begin with the description now. Okay, so no questions there. So let's look at some of the part 1 questions, which are very simple. What kind of meals do you like? So I adore. So look at the lovely vocab that can be used here. Oh, I adore different types of meals. Meat plates. My mouth waters whenever I see chicken and mutton. However, I don't like to cook. That's why I often eat ready meals and takeaways. Do you often have dinner with your family or friends? Well, I try to have dinner with my family as often as possible. Unfortunately, I don't get enough time for it because of my busy schedule. When do you usually eat dinner? I usually have my main meal at about 3 p.m. That's a typo again, guys. It's at about 8 p.m. I'm starving hungry by then and sometimes overeat. Now you can see that there are certain words which have been underlined out here. So these are good vocabulary that you can use while you speak, and there are others which are in italics, and these are signposting languages. So I hope the signposting language out here is absolutely clear for all of you. All right, now let's move on to the next stage. Are there any fruits or vegetables you don't like? Why, yes, there are. I am not a fussy eater, but I really hate onions and seafood. I try to avoid meals that might contain these products. Now again, fussy eater, seafood. If you notice out here, both in this question and the next question, there are a lot of collocations. So we say, so who can tell me in the class what a collocation is? Very clearly? Because I just mentioned about it a little earlier. Let's see if we've got a response there on collocations. Okay, collocations are words that generally go together. So, generally, you wouldn't use a collocation which is very good while speaking, but not that good while writing. So, I wouldn't write takeaway when I'm writing, because again, collocations tend to have different meanings. So, yes, thank you, Neha Munga. Thank you very much. So, words like ready meals, takeaway, overeat. I think overeat is something you can use while writing also, but words like takeaways, ready meals, these are collocations and they're generally used while speaking. Again, yes, there are. I'm not a fussy eater, this I've already mentioned. And what is your favorite cuisine? You can see a signposting language has been used here. Well, I love French cuisine for its versatility and flavorful ingredients. French cuisine has a variety of dishes, starting from their famous onion soup and ending with cheese fondue. Also, it rarely uses artificial ingredients or flavors. You can very clearly see that two different forms of flavors have been used out here. Now, something like this, guys, would not be a repetition of a word. I think this is something I have mentioned in my earlier classes also. Whenever we use a root word and write its various forms, we tend to, further, um, let's say, further expand our vocab bank. And this could be a very good habit where you could take a root word, make categories of four, put verb, um, noun, adjective, and adverb, and then make your own vocab bank. This will help you to combine the words together and use it in different ways. Because the moment you do this, you not only learn new words, but you also tend to learn how to use them correctly. And for any doubts in correlation to the vocabulary, to the pronunciation, always refer to the Cambridge Online Dictionary, one of the best available on the internet. Now, these were the words which were used. On the left hand side, we've got the vocabulary, and on the right hand side, we've got linkers. Now, before I show you the part 2 answer, I will be telling you something about the part 2, and I'm going to ask you to answer the question for me. So in the part 2 of the test, you are given a topic card or a cue card by the examiner, and you have to talk about it for 2 minutes. You'll be given a pencil and a paper and 1 minute to prepare your answer. You should talk about the points that are on the card, but you'll need to add in extra information. Otherwise, you'll probably finish before the time is up. So my suggestion to you would be always to write the vocabulary, the key idea, and then expand it while speaking. Now, my favorite is this. Always start your question by saying something like, "Thank you for the given topic, ma'am. It is such an uncommon, unusual, a humorous, a funny, interesting, conversational, nostalgic, sensitive, philosophical topic." And then talk about the topic in general and then come down to the specific. So go ahead, try out these strategies and make the most of your IELTS speaking. Now, this is the question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you more about how to write this. But while I do that, I'm going to ask you to think about what you would be writing yourself. I'm not asking you to post it on the Unacademy live chat, but I'm going to ask you to write this as your homework. So whoever is a part of the class right now can send the answers to me in the chat box and I'll check it for you. All right? Now, the question is, where is it? Describe a place where you like to eat at. You should say, where is it? What kind of food it serves? Why do you like its food? And how often do you eat there? Now, a very basic question to my students. Can you tell me what are the two grammar points that you would definitely be using here? Let's see if I can get a good answer from you guys. Quickly, can I get an answer in relation to what grammar point you would be using here? It's very simple, guys. Look at the question. You'll get the answer yourself. Very good, Neha. Like I always say, we combine a story, and so definitely you could talk about it in the present simple only, but or you could talk about a particular incident that happened out there because of which you started liking their food even more. So you could do a combination of present simple, past simple, present perfect. It's absolutely up to you. And Ratna, it would be a good idea to add complex sentences, but like I say, it's fairly easier to add complex sentences when you're writing rather than when you are speaking. Now let's move ahead and look at the answer. Thank you for giving me such a nice topic, ma'am. Absolutely, Ratna, use linkers. It is such a relatable topic. Where is a pen? Just a second, guys. Yes. I would like to talk about a nice little restaurant in a walking distance of my apartment called Pasta Palace. It is situated on the ancient street in the old city center. This restaurant serves various meals of Italian cuisine that I certainly enjoy. For example, look at the signposting language. I would like to talk about they serve extremely delicious pasta, pizza, and tomato soup. I particularly love their pasta. It's a very versatile food item and can be made in many ways. In general, again, signposting, I love Italian food because it is all about fresh, flavorful ingredients. That's why I eat in that restaurant every now and then with my family and friends. I go there with my family and friends for a quick meal. So rather than repeating this, you could say, I go with them for a quick meal if we have anything to celebrate. It's quite a classy restaurant, the kind of place you would take someone if you wanted to wine and dine them. We usually order a three-course meal, a light starter, then a main dish, and I have quite a sweet tooth, so I always look forward to the dessert. I mostly order tiramisu. It makes my mouth water just to think about it. I'm always totally full up by the end. Although it's not cheap, its quality justifies the bill. And that is the reason why I like this place so much. So you could end by saying, and that's why this place is my favorite. All right? So that could be a lovely speaking out there. Let's go back and look at the question. Firstly, where is it? This has been identified and spoken about here, till here. Now, let's go back. What kind of food it serves? So let's call it question one. Just a second, guys. I'm just getting my pen sorted. So question one. Question two is from here. This restaurant serves various meals of Italian cuisine. So you've got that here. What kind of food it serves? Blah, blah, blah. Till here. And the next part of the question, why do you like you should say why do you like its food? I think that question was missing out here. And the whole thing is about why do you like this food. Let's go here, question 3. So till here it was question 2. And from here it is question 3. You can see that both parts of the questions have been answered here. Why do you like its food and how often do you eat here? So we usually, where is it? Yeah, it's there. I go there with my family and friends. The kind of place you would take someone if you want to wine and dine. I mostly ordered tiramisu. So it speaks about, like, you generally order what kind of food and how often do you go there. I eat in that restaurant every now and then. So part 3 and part 4 of the question have been combined together out here. All right. So yeah, that's it. Now questions in part 3 would involve you speaking about different types of topics correlated to questions to part 2. So it's very interesting out here. You will have to compare. Generally, you will have to compare a situation now with the same situation in the past, or you'll have to talk about advantages, disadvantages, or you may have to talk about something in correlation to the future. So, a good thing out here would be to use signposting language for contrast, compare, opinion, and so on. All right. Now, there's some of these part 3 questions out here. How can we encourage people to eat more healthily? I think the best approach, you can see signposting language for opinion, functional language. We call it language for opinion. Language for opinion or of opinion. Language of, let me just erase that so that it's clearer to all of you. Language of opinion. Do you think people enjoy the food as much as they should? I don't know really, in my opinion. You can see this again, guys. Language of opinion has been mentioned everywhere. Yes, it's true that people will often eat a quick snack because they're bored, not because they're dying of hunger, and often they just bolt it down and don't savor it. So yes, perhaps we could take more time over our food. Do you think cooking is a pleasure or a chore for people who have busy lives? So whether you follow recipe or make something up as you go along, I think cooking is a very creative process. So you can very clearly see how many times language of opinion has been used. So instead of saying I think you could use I believe. All right. So right there, I think I just used the I for believe. And also, you can see every time you use the language of opinion, the answer becomes all the more effective, all the more powerful, all the more expressive. So make use of that and look at the lovely phrases that have been used. They bolt it down, dying of hunger, eat a balanced diet, processed food. So all these, excuse me, are options that you could use whenever you do the IELTS Part 3 of the speaking module. There's some other questions out here. Some are very Indian. In fact, I've even used Kabuli chana out here because some students tend to use the words in vernacular and then they go back to rectifying it and using it in English. That's fine too. India is a very, so what is the most famous dish from your country? Can you describe it? India is a varied country with lots of cultures existing uh, together. So there's no one famous dish, but there are a lot of them. But the little that I've traveled, I think rice is something most people eat with their own varieties. So you can find people eating with chola, which is prepared using kabuli chana, which is chickpeas, or with fish or coconut chutney. So I hope this makes things absolutely easy for you. Even if you make any kind of usage of a vernacular vocabulary, you could immediately give the English version of it or just go ahead and, continue whatever you were saying. It's all right. Those errors are not that big errors. So you can make errors like that. I hope it's clear. I love the Yes, absolutely. I think people have their own opinions. Um, Girish, ma'am, did you have read video? No, Girish, I do not have read video. I say whatever I say by myself. And if there's material on the chart, on the PowerPoint, I go through that and add bits of my own. Pachu, ma'am, I love cooking, but I feel boring at the time of dish cleaning. I love cleaning dishes, Pachu. So that's, and I do not like cooking. So I think that's where we differ. All right, guys. So I've internalized it for you. So this was a basic query that students had, and students had put forward at the time of my special classes that, ma'am, what happens if we use a vernacular word? If you use a vernacular word, if you know the English version of it, translate it into English and say in English it's called that. But if you don't know, don't bother about it. Even whatever language you may be of, just go ahead and use that word. Remember, if you stop and hesitate about the word that you've used, it's going to be detrimental to you. Rather than doing that, just fluently speak and forget about that word. If you focus on doing other things properly, that one vernacular word is not going to make much of a difference to you. I hope it's absolutely clear, guys. And I've got a lot more questions. Please go through the slides later on to have a look at the other part 3 questions. What is your favorite dish? What kind of food do you like? And what is your main meal of the day? Have a look at all the signposting language of opinion that is used. I love dosa. I usually have either rice, or you could say either or either, so it's all used. I prefer eating. Look at the language out here. What I'm going to ask my students to focus on is definitely vocabulary, how many times I've given you a variety, but also I would like you to focus on language of opinion in part 3 of the IELTS speaking test, because it gives a different, it gives a lot of grammatical range and vocabulary expertise, to the whole IELTS speaking, and the examiner feels that the student knows a lot. Now, a lot more IELTS part 3 questions. Guys, please go ahead, make the most of this material. It's my humble request, and this is what I've been concentrating on. Lately, I've made it made it a point that I will be doing a lot of IELTS speaking topics for all of you, so that the moment you need to prepare for a particular examination, you just go to the Unacademy live channel, put in the topic name, and you have these topics ready made before you to prepare for the IELTS speaking examination. I hope all this has helped you today. If it has helped you, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the Unacademy platform. And most importantly, if you are not a subscriber, please use my code BETrainers. I repeat, BETrainers to become a subscriber on the Unacademy platform, on the Unacademy website, and get a further 10% off. And now, coming back to the last part of the class today, I will be starting the Ultimate Booster course on grammar and vocabulary, and this course is going to start from 10th of April. Only live subscribers will be able to attend these classes, and the classes will happen from 9 to 10:30 p.m. IST, so Indian Standard Time. All right. And in this class, I will be covering vocabulary for graphs and tables, writing task 1, vocabulary for pie charts and process, writing task 1, vocabulary for maths, writing task 1, doubt clearing session, vocabulary for speaking, latest topics, just like I've been doing lately. I know you guys love my speaking classes, so do not fail. And do not fail to come to my classes on the Unacademy live platform also, and vocabulary and practice writing task 2, and essay writing and doubt clearing continued. So come to my classes on the Unacademy live platform, on the Unacademy website, especially from the 10th of April from 9 to 10:30 p.m. And most importantly, do not fail to subscribe if you haven't yet. And my Instagram and Telegram handles are IELTS with Arifa. All right, this is quite troublesome sometimes. So we'll just erase all ink and slides. So let's go back. I'll take you to the first slide, and there it is. If you would like to subscribe, use code PE Trainers, and if you'd like to follow me on Instagram and Telegram, my handle is the same, IELTS with Arifa. Thank you and good night, and we'll meet again at 9 p.m. on the Unacademy website for a special class on Agree and Disagree essay today. So till then, goodbye guys, and let's crack it.